Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a really high-stakes presidential press conference. We're going to look at what was said, what was sold, and all the political drama that came with it. Whenever a U.S. president stands up alone in front of the press in another country, you've got to wonder how much of this is just for the cameras and what's actually the real deal. That's what we're going to figure out. We're getting behind the handshake in New Delhi. All right, so let's set the scene. We're in New Delhi. The pressure is on and the whole world is watching. And when you actually look at the transcript of this thing, it's pretty wild. You've got these huge multi-billion-dollar deals right alongside some really tense moments on diplomacy. And then, out of nowhere, it swerves right into American political fights. It's a fascinating mix. Okay, first up, let's talk about the money. The billion-dollar handshake. What were the big, concrete deals that came out of this? $3 billion. That's the number that grabbed all the headlines. It's a huge figure, right? Meant to show this really strong partnership. But what does $3 billion actually get you? Well, for starters, it buys 24 Seahawk maritime helicopters and 6 Apache attack helicopters. But look, this is about way more than just selling some hardware. The real prize here, the strategic goal, is this word, interoperability. It's a fancy way of saying they're making sure U.S. and Indian military forces can basically plug and play, working together seamlessly. That is a huge strategic shift. And the president himself put it pretty bluntly. He said, "We make the greatest weapons ever made, and India likes us. We're sending them a lot." You can hear it, right? It's part sales pitch and it's part foreign policy. It frames this whole deal as proof of a genuine friendship, not just a transaction. But, it wasn't all sealed deals and high fives. The briefing also had to dance around some pretty thorny issues, and that's where you really see the diplomatic friction happening. And this was super clear when it came to trade. On one hand, you had the big, flashy goal, a fantastic new trade deal. But on the other, you had the reality, the sticking points. The president was very specific, saying tariffs had to come down and using Harley-Davidson as the prime example. It's a powerful symbol, and it shows that even with these huge ambitions, the real fight is always in the details.
Then, of course, a reporter hits him with a really tough one, the issue of religious freedom inside India. Now, this is a classic testy moment in international diplomacy. How do you talk about a key ally's sensitive internal politics on a world stage?
So what did he do? He chose to protect the relationship. Instead of launching into a public critique, the president just talked about the good conversation he had on the subject. It was a very deliberate diplomatic move. Keep the tough talks private to keep the public alliance looking strong. And then, the whole briefing just took this incredibly sharp turn. All of a sudden, we weren't really talking about New Delhi anymore. The focus snapped right back to Washington, D.C. and the election. And this was the moment that did it. This one line, aimed squarely at the audience back home. If the Democrats get in, your 401ks will be down the tubes. Wow. I mean, that's pure campaign messaging, delivered from a foreign capital. It just goes to show you, the campaign trail is global now. And just like that, with that one sentence, the entire narrative flipped. The news headlines were no longer just about the U.S. and India. They were about the deep political divides back in America. It's a striking example of how domestic politics can just totally overshadow major foreign policy news. So after all that, the deals, the diplomacy, the political jabs, what's the bottom line? What are the really crucial takeaways from this one press conference? All right, let's boil this whole thing down to 3 key points. First, the defense relationship is stronger than ever. That multi-billion-dollar deal sealed it. Second, there's still unfinished business. A really big, comprehensive trade deal? Still not there yet. And finally, number 3, politics is now a global sport. The campaign trail doesn't end at the border anymore. So all this leaves us with a pretty big question. After the photo ops and the sound bites, what does this briefing really tell us about the future? Is this the new normal for diplomacy, where billion-dollar weapons deals and domestic campaign attacks share the same stage? What does it all mean when the line between foreign policy and a re-election campaign gets this blurry? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this Explainer.